Hey, welcome to EPS Paratalk. This is our daytime edition. I'm Robert. This is
Freddie, how y'all doing?
we're Elite Paranormal Society, and a lot of times we'll go ahead every week. We have for Thursday, every Thursday at 7 p.m. in evening time. We typically go ahead and have just a hour talk, kind of a very casual conversation to go ahead and try to push some information out there to the field. Stuff that we've learned. We're not saying it's the only way. We're just trying to give those that are wanting to learn more a little bit better opportunity as a resource to be able to find some information. We'll be talking about tools. Sharon, Justin, thanks for jumping on. We'll be talking about equipment, tools. We'll be talking about techniques, evidence, give it an array, and it really depends on what you guys want to talk about. What we do is we do it interactive so that we can go ahead and watch what your comments are. If somebody has a question, we want to make sure we can answer them and whatnot. Very personal, so when you're new, just go ahead and type in new, and we'll give you guys a shout out. Cheyenne, thanks for jumping on. And you're going to have to make sure, as long as that keeps going, just make sure you keep going down with it. That'd be great. Appreciate it. Appreciate you guys all jumping on. Give it just a minute for more people to jump. How you doing today?
Doing great.
Good?
Yeah. Working a lot.
Doing great.
A lot.
At work, and then you sound like little
Well, I'm waiting to
Mr.
retire.
Downer.
I'm waiting to retire.
waiting to
so-
retire. Yeah. Waiting to win the lottery, but of course my wife keeps saying I got to play before we can win, so we'll see what happens.
And it takes money to play lottery.
Again, guys,
Yep.
Thanks for jumping on. We want to play some audio for some people. That's going to be a big deal for today. So some of the audio clips that we actually caught, which would be pretty interesting. Cheryl, thanks for being on. Michelle, Tammy, thank you so much for jumping on.
Hello, Cheryl.
Again, if you have any questions, Sandy, if you have any questions as we go, feel free to throw them up there. Hopefully, we'll see how well Freddie can keep up.
Not very good.
Typically, we have 2 or 3 others behind the scene that would actually go ahead and be able to let us know if there's particular comments. So just hang with us. It'd be just the 2 of us doing it this time. Kendra, thanks for being on.
Hello, Kendra.
New. Awesome. Just going to throw one. This is an EVP clip that we got at one of our favorite places that we were going to. And the neat part about it, greetings from Mexico. John, good to see you. One of the neat things about it is a lot of times what we find out, especially for EVPs, is as we're setting up, we can end up hitting. I'm sorry, I keep interrupting. Lori, thanks for jumping on. Awesome to see you. That's great. Thanks for taking some time out of your busy schedule between you and Justin. I know both you guys stay very busy. A lot of times during our setup, we'll turn around and we catch some of the best EVPs during setup. And this is one clip that's one of my favorites that I want to play. There's no kids here. There's nobody throwing a fit. So what you hear is the actual audio from this. We had just set up control. We're getting ready to go with control. And of course, upon review, we hear I'm getting ready to give instructions. And then there's some talk going on. You figure it out for a second. Let me go ahead and play it for you. We're gonna go first. Play it one more time. So you can hear, obviously, there seems to be a child that's kind of a little distraught, that's whining or screaming. And then there was an adult that says, Michael, hang on. There was no adult there that said, Michael, hold on. There was no Michael there, and there was no child there. So it was very, very interesting to go ahead and have that. Lori, go ahead. As far as, is this pertaining about an older woman and a child? I'm not sure what that was too. Jeremy, bonjour. Glad to have you. And go back up. Somebody was asking about tonight. Tonight we will be doing our our regular EPS live Paratalk. Sharon, thanks for throwing that up there at 7 p.m. on our page. It will not be on Paranormal Warehouse. Fortunately, we were able to go ahead and jump on Paranormal Warehouse and be able to use their platform. We're going to be doing it more often. They have obviously great viewership, so we want to run on it. Sorry, I can see here. That's so. I know, Lori, and I'm so grateful. We are so grateful when we have people that have some awesome abilities. It's phenomenal. Let me play it one more time for you, Geneva. Just try to listen to it. Play it one more. We're gonna go first. It's a kid that's going, screaming, and then the person says, Michael, hang on. Laura, yeah, that's actually what we picked up on. You're saying it's a handicapped child. That is, you're absolutely right. Pauline from Scotland, thanks for joining us so much. We appreciate it. Jeremy as well. You're absolutely right, Lori. And again, there's going to be some people on here, for those that are not very familiar. Some people have abilities, and regardless where they are, whether they're on the other side of the world or not, they can pick up on some phenomenal aspects and just know. Can't explain it. They blow my mind every time. I think it's phenomenal. They help us with cases all the time. It's awesome to have. Go ahead with Kyle.
Kyle said, hey guys, I have a serious question. I've been living in an apartment. I did an echo box session and hear some weird noises and then hear some dishes move. Is it because of the communication?
One of the things you want to be careful about is it's actually two things. If you start using equipment, especially if you start using it in your own house, it becomes more personal. And when you do that, you have two things you have to watch for, and we're all guilty of it. You got to watch for the tricks that plays on your mind, because you're going to hear things. 50% of the time when you're listening to your Echo Vox, Spirit Box, or anything, if you're listening to it live, 50% of the time you're probably guessing about what it's saying. The other 50% of the time you're probably wrong. It's an assumption. It's pareidolia that we end up, it's what your brain plays on you. If nothing's happening before you ever played the Echo Vox, why worry about it? I wouldn't worry about anything unless something bad is actually happening in the first place. Now, we suggest to people to not go ahead and repetitively keep going over and investigating their own home, because if somebody's on the other side, I'm going to use you for a minute, you're on the other side and you keep hearing a radio playing and you go, oh, I can hear that, they might be able to hear me, you're going to come visit. And if you kind of think of it in that aspect, the more times you're throwing it out there, playing the Spirit Box over and over every day in your house, more than likely something else in the area is going to try to make contact if they want to make contact to the other side. Hit Lori's.
Lori just said, replying to Geneva.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
No problem. I'm sorry. I thought she had something offhand.
You're good.
Exactly, Sandy. You can definitely open up your house. The more equipment and more you keep going into it, the more you're going to bring out. If you're nervous about it, don't do it at your house all the time. I'm just telling you, you're going to be playing tricks on your mind, in your mind, as far as your mind will play tricks on you. My apologies. Hope, thanks for jumping on. What did she have right there?
Can other teams submit EVPs they have captured?
Hope, you can submit it to our page. We're right now on a platform. Paranormal Warehouse has a lot of teams out there. If you want people to review it or you just want to put it out there, we do have two pages in particular. We have a fan page that you don't have to get approved to be on. And then we have another actual group that you can go ahead. On the group page, you can go ahead and put your events onto it. You can certainly go ahead and send us EVPs. We'll be glad to listen to it, check it out for you, and give you our feedback. But when we give feedback, it's honest feedback. If I'm just going to be honest with you. I mean, I can sit there and use the computer and the software and have a real good idea of what a lot of it is. Some people only hear one syllable. Some people hear multiple syllables. And when I do it on the computer, I can actually watch the graphics to see how many there really are. Can you read what you wrote? I'm sorry, I'm sorry, Lori. There was a question.
Let me go back.
All right, we're hunting down the question. My apologies. There was a question. We're trying not to miss out the questions.
We're basically with Geneva. I also seen a teenager hung herself there as well, but the boy was trying to tell his dad he's seen her. Can you guys please check on the past history of the house and find the girl teenager who died in the house before the young boy moved in?
Oh, okay. There was actually a hanging in the house. If you're actually talking about the one that we had played that clip from, Lori, there was a hanging that we knew of that was documented on the outside of the house. And that was back during the slavery days, the unfortunate times. And the gentleman just wanted, at that point, it was Luke, and he just wanted to have his story known. And after we made a video of it, we've never heard from Luke again. Because of kids and animals. Okay. Go ahead. Oh, okay. That's still, I think they're communicating with each other.
Sorry, I'm trying to keep up, everybody. I apologize.
Love it, guys. Love it. It's awesome. Another big deal when you're actually listening to audio is you can't take it for what you hear. It's no different than a lot of mediums. A lot of mediums will get bits and pieces or whatever comes to them, but a lot of it's kind of a puzzle, and they have to try to interpret and figure out. The more time they spend at it, the more they understand. If they see an apple, it might not mean food. It might not mean that they're hungry or they need some fruit or whatever. It could mean health. You know, it could mean something different. So have to work at it. Anything else right offhand?
And Lori just said that she wasn't here for that show. Sorry. It's all good, Lori. It's all good.
Thomas has got one. Thomas, thanks for being on with us.
Thomas says, I got a question. If there is a property that is haunted and there is blood being shed on a regular basis, would that affect the spirits around? I used to do pro wrestling for an outlaw promotion on private property that is haunted, and I have been involved in some bloody, violent death matches, hardcore wrestling.
Unless you're involving, or should I say evoking, something on the negative paranormal side, just because there was bloodshed, it's not going to change anything. When people are doing blood pentagrams and whatnot, then you start getting into a little bit more of likelihood, something more negative coming through. We've been to locations where there's been a lot of bloodshed, and really things have been very, very calm. Misty, hi from Colorado. Want to go back for just a second, though. When you're listening to EVPs or you're listening to ITCs, you have to go ahead and keep a frame of mind. A lot of people start hearing, get out, you know, leave, whatever. Bear in mind that if there are spirits there, a lot of the spirits that you go to are going to be, that you're running into, are spirits that are attached to the house, are more likely spirits that have, you know, from people who have lived in the house for so long and they consider that their home. So we go in to investigate. We're going in 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. You know, if you have a group of people coming to your house, what would you say? You want some coffee, or you're going to say, leave, get out? You know, so it's not always bad. Sometimes we're scaring them. So bear that in mind.
Cheyenne Base said, did you hear more from Paul?
Paul, we did, as far as Paul was on the last investigation. We just investigated KOA, the haunted campground. It definitely has a lot of activity. Even though people can be mean or seem vindictive or nasty, even spirits, it doesn't mean they always are. Sometimes they just can't get over themselves or can't get out of their own way. When you remove or cross somebody over and then, you know, reality sets into them, they can get mad at first, but you get them to back down and understand. It's not for us to judge in our belief. You know, that's for somebody higher up for us to do. It's for them to ask for forgiveness and try to move on. And that's all we're trying to do. We're trying to open up that possibility. After we went ahead and crossed the little girl, Paul went ahead and obviously got very anxious, very upset about it. I invited him to get closer. It didn't matter to me. And at that point, once we explained it to him, he was more upset, more at himself than anything else. Tammy, I agree, we scare them sometimes. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's times when the room can be closing in, and it'd be fun. Hold right there for a second for Justin's. Okay. There'll be times you have to change up a little bit, and it's hard to do while we're live because I've done it a couple times and absolutely scared the heck out of the people watching. But to me, there's times when you're in a really dark room, things all of a sudden everything gets more black, and people start saying, "Hey, there's a heaviness. Hey, something's coming."
It's different. Yep.
And when they get really close, and it feels like somebody's close to me, in the dark, you turn around and go boo towards them. To me, I would just be cracking up because I wonder if it does scare anybody. Maybe it doesn't, maybe it does. I just want their friends to laugh at them. Justin's question, go ahead.
Basically, just asking, will Robert have this mallard duck wings for smudging?
Yes, I will.
Battlefield Bash.
Yes, I will, Justin. I've got probably 5 or 6 of them at least that I'll be bringing up there. Thanks for asking. I don't want to mess up the name. Go back up. I'm trying to give you a shout out. I apologize, Raman. I didn't want to mess up your name. I certainly apologize for that. Solo ambush, middle of jungle, 1 to 3 a.m. Okay. Check it out. Again, we're looking past the camera. We've got a monitor behind us, and that's what we're actually trying to read up on so he doesn't have to do everything by himself. Freddie, I appreciate it.
That's fine.
Cheryl's?
Basically, Robert, I have helped many people with issues in their home spiritually. Can you leave residual energy personal?
Can you? Nobody's going to tell you one way or the other. As far as factual, we can always leave an imprint. We've got some incredible imprints that were residual. In a minute, I'll bring one up. It's actually a bunch of screaming that a woman is doing. It's pretty phenomenal. So we can. I'm not saying we can't. We've had locations where a tree had fell on the house. It was a property that was being rented. The homeowner, the renters did not know about it because it had happened a couple of years prior, and then they were woke up, and including their dog, which is a huge dog. It should be a horse. Were woke up to this crazy noise of sound like the whole top of the house was getting caved in. And what it was just the residual sound from that tree that had crashed on the house 2 years prior. We had something with quite a bit of writing up above. Go
yeah,
up.
I'm get back up.
All
Sorry.
There's one more right there.
Right there.
See if you
Annette
see
said, I seen a man looking at me a month ago as I was falling asleep on my couch. I jumped and it disappeared. Only light I had on was TV. Okay, so this last weekend, my son and his girlfriend stayed the night, and they woke myself and my husband up about 4 a.m. They heard the kitchen cupboard open and closed. My son is 21, and he was scared. It woke them up.
And again, things can happen. You can have transitional spirits come through. The worst part, and I'm not questioning you whatsoever. I put it out there because as an investigator, we can't just automatically assume. We're looking for the very clear evidence. We're looking for the very clear. So if you're about to fall asleep or you asleep and you happen to just wake up, unfortunately, it's not as solid as when you're standing there and you're completely awake. You have to make sure you judge for yourself. Then when you have other family members or other people that turn around and have something that happens, it kind of gives you a validation, which is really cool. But if nothing's happened, again, what is there to be scared of? I mean, we've been to a lot of houses where people are worried, they feel threatened, they feel like something bad's going to happen to them. They've got stuff that's moving all over the house. There's a lot of sharp instruments in your kitchen that could move, and if they've been moving other kind of stuff, they wanted to hurt you, they already would have. Just don't be disrespectful, but you can still get your house back. There's plenty of people that can help you do that. Sue, want to give you a shout back. Thank you for being on with us.
She enjoyed our watching the KOA investigation over the weekend.
The KOA, like I said, was a investigation we did it's a haunted campground. It's known to be a haunted campground. The house itself has been turned into a haunted house, which we would not typically do because the decor kind of leads you right into having that kind of mentality that everything's spooky and whatnot. And that's not really what we go for. In this case, though, it's the decor that's naturally set there, and that's what we were following on. So we go ahead and we investigate the campground. It was really cool because we did Paranormal Warehouse. Lori, just let me know. We'll set something up with you. I love having mediums, and I'm sorry, I'll get right back to Lori's in just a second. Give her a shout out in just a sec before I forget, okay? So at the haunted campground on Paranormal Warehouse, we did that on Friday night. And then Saturday night, we went ahead and went back to our page. The really awesome part was we had a lot of people that were viewing that had abilities, and they were throwing it out there of, hey, watch, telling about the different women that we have on our team. Something's going to happen. Watch this, watch that, get them out of there. And we appreciate all the warnings. But out of both nights, everybody was completely right that was making those comments, which was phenomenal. Every female that was with us was actually taken out of the investigation because of things happening. So all the warnings that we got were absolutely dead on accurate.
Hello, Olita. Olita? Hope I said it right. If not, just correct me.
Kellenberger, I can do your last name.
There you go.
I apologize if we messed it up.
Yeah.
Annette, excuse me. Thank you so much for being on with us as well. To leave a recorder on, you're not inviting anything. The biggest suggestion I would make for you guys is pretty simple. If you're going to investigate, you start off with the investigation. What I do personally is I start out with the investigation. I'm like, look, we're going to go ahead. We're looking to communicate. If there's anybody in this location, we want to communicate with you. We don't mean any disrespect. There's nothing we have that's going to harm you. All we're trying to do is talk to you. We really, really want to talk to you. And then when we're done, we want to cut that off. We want to say, look, we don't want to talk to anybody anymore. We don't want to hear from any spirits. We don't want to know you're here, whatever. State what you're actually doing and state it out loud as far as what you're trying to accomplish. It makes a difference. It really does. You don't want to leave things open.
I'm going to give a shout out to Lori Carter.
Lori, thanks for being on with us. We appreciate that very much. If you haven't already heard about the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash, Justin's talking about a little bit. If you ever go to Gettysburg, PA, you definitely want to look it up. There's going to be a lot of teams. The teams are crazy friendly up there. When you get up there, it's awesome. You can have a lot of good time. Just meeting anybody, approach anybody. Don't feel like anybody's, above you or anything. We're all on the same level.
Apparently, we got the name right.
Awesome. So, good job. Well, that was you. I appreciate that.
I had to wing that one.
Holy water definitely works really well. That's just one of the things I use in particular. It was somebody was mentioning about the holy water. There's certain reactions you're going to get out, and even saging and whatnot. There's certain steps you can take, but every location is different, and depending on what you're dealing with. What does Geneva have?
Geneva said, I bought a new house on blank land for this reason, but I often hear the spirits playing with the dog's toys at night. I don't mind. I hope they enjoy them.
There's, well, not only, we always think of spirits, human spirits and whatnot. We obviously have some others, which I'm going to pull one up here in just a minute while you're doing that. Are you already caught up?
I'm getting there. I'm like 16.
Justice said it best. That is true. Talking about the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash, it is like a big family. What they do also is they end up having, like this past year, we had a couple of children that were extremely ill. Got them to come in. We had Batman from West Virginia, phenomenal. He's definitely one of my heroes. This gentleman came in with these kids, took them for some rides in some awesome vehicles, and got them inside, and everybody was clapping as they went ahead and ran laps around on the inside and everything, and just to pump them up, So it's about the paranormal, but it is a lot about family. It doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, everyone's welcome.
Family. Yep.
It's a phenomenal feeling, and that's the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash.
Geneva said we do have a dog that's passed away. So
we find that a lot. There's a lot of people that we find that, Lori, thanks for being on. There's a lot of people we find that will come in and they'll say, look, they'll talk about, well, we've actually had Lori, sorry, Lori, you're on my mind at this point. Laura turned around and we were at the client's house and she saw their cat, and then she explained what it looked like. We're all sitting there and she's sitting there looking like she sees a cat, sees one. We didn't know what she was looking at. And then she tells the client what the cat was. And of course, it's one that had just recently passed away. But a lot of people experience where a cat or a dog that used to jump in bed and then they like walk a circle and then lay down, they still feel that even after the animal's gone, which is phenomenal.
Especially on the bed, like you feel them jump up on the bed.
Yeah. And it's the same specific. Talking about, this is dogs I had a client at one point who complained about hearing like a dog squeak toy go off, but they didn't even have a squeak toy. And he swore there was a bark that had happened a couple of times. And, you take it at face value. As an investigator, until you experience it, everything's just taken as face value until you get to it. You want to give a shout out?
Luella Campbell from Columbus, Ohio. Welcome.
Dina Lee, thanks for being on with us. We appreciate it.
She said we're on early, but
yes, we are. We are doing daytime. We do not typically do daytime because of my work schedule. I'm now working nights. I cannot be on Paratalk or nighttime Paratalk show that's on at 7 o'clock every Thursday. So couldn't do without being on here. It's been too long since jumping on.
Annette says, can spirits play with your hair?
Absolutely. People will definitely feel that. Their hair, it's nothing hard. It's usually something very light where they'll get brushed. Plenty of people have had pulling, but the difference of that is older houses that have rough cut lumber, if the ceilings are really low, most of the time it's that's actually catching it, especially if you're walking in the dark. So not to be mistaken for the other. I'm going to play this clip real quick. Just listen for a minute. Let me know what you take out of it. But you're going to be, I can tell you right now, you're going to find But I like how you're going to be. I can tell you right now, you're going to find. Can you hear a pet in this one? But I like how you're going to be. I can tell you right now, you're going to find. But I like how you're going to be. I can tell you right now, you're going to find. Should be able to hear the dog barking in this, and I apologize. Again, we'll end up working on a different speaker. People ask a lot about whether or not pets can cross or if they can still be there as spirits or whatnot. We've had dogs, cats, horses, frogs, believe it or not. I know that's a weird sound. We've had birds sound like a macaw or something that would scream or kind of shriek at the same time. Exactly, Sandy. It was a dog.
And there was no dog in or around.
How you're going to be, I can tell you right now, you're going to find. Now, to what Freddie was just saying, there was no dog in or on or around the house, however you want to put it. And one of the things you have to watch for, this was a single family house, you have to watch for, if you had apartments, you could be hearing something from an HVAC, from one of the vents. This was an absolute isolated house. So for a dog to be caught barking, you explain it. Now remember, the homeowner had said he'd heard a squeak toy a few times and even a bark or two. So pretty awesome when you get animal sounds as well. We actually, a lot of times when we're going to go ahead and we talk to a client about going to a location, we do want to know about what kind of animals, if they have animals and whether or not the animals are interacting with whatever's going on. And animals can tell and be more straightforward than the clients can sometimes. I mean, sometimes I put a little bit more trust into an animal because clients can get up, we can all be, our minds can all play on us, play tricks with us and everything. But when an animal keeps acting, then you got to cut it down to, obviously we know there could be something, if it's staring at a wall all the time, you have to remember, there could be a mouse in the wall. I know people don't want to admit that they have mice in their house, but just about every house does. If there's a mouse in a wall, I could hear that. But there's other activities or other characteristics of the action that an animal will take, depending if it's negative or positive and what it's doing. So we go with it. What you got?
Just want to say hi to Robert.
Robert and Ramon, thanks for being on with us. We appreciate that very much. Yeah.
Jesse.
See what Hope has?
Hope has, I had a spirit come into bed with me. I was laying on my belly and it climbed over me, starting at my feet. I let it get to my hips, thinking it was my mom playing a trick. So I flipped. I lost where was that?
Flip there was no one there.
That's it. Years later, I learned there was a murder in the building. The guy murdered his brother. The murderer was a huge womanizer.
A lot of that will continue to happen over time as far as the, where somebody's personality, what they were in life, a lot of people will talk about it. They are the same after death. We had a Masonic temple that was a phenomenal location that we went to. And that location, it was the original Masonic temple. No women were allowed in certain areas, or actually even in there. Eventually, they ended up having where there was a women's branch that would have their meetings, and then you could have the men's. But the men would always meet in one particular room. So any women entering this building that go into this particular level would be met with aggression. And it's because he was still trying to keep the secrecy of just it being the man's clubhouse or whatever you want to call it. What's the matter?
I'm just trying to follow along, see what.
Okay.
I'm getting lost. It don't take much.
Apologize. There's some conversations that go on, and it's wonderful. And again, you're going to see people on here with abilities like Lori, who, she'll be picking up on stuff and throwing it out there for somebody. Again, we can't thank you enough for everybody that has abilities. And if you think you have abilities, go with it. It's perfectly fine. Anytime we're live, we're asking for people to go ahead and give us their insight. We're asking you to go ahead and throw in the comments what you're picking up on. And I don't care if it's different from what everybody else is picking up on. Put it out there.
Ramon said that he has a recent video footage of a horror activity and my dog is watching it. I'll send it to you later.
That'd be cool. Great, by all means. At the top of our page, if you go on Facebook, if you go to the search bar and just type in Elite, E-L-I-T-E, Para, P-A-R-A-S-O-C, Elite Parasoc. If you type that into a search, you'll find our webpage, and we'd love to have you guys jump on with us. Paul, thanks for being on. Hope did a Masonic Lodge too. Exactly, Hope. So people that, so some people, we've done a lot of fire departments as well. There's people that just want to stay there.
Yeah.
Spirits, sorry, I keep calling them people. They are people. They're just people on the other side. They keep going back to what they love the most. And someone will just hang out there, and we can give our mediums given incredible descriptions of different people, to the T, and people that are standing there are like, I know who that is. That's such another. And then she'll tell them exactly how they passed. I mean, it's mind blowing, but it's cool that they're still there trying to do the same
Well,
thing.
I can tell you if I ever cross or go over, I'm not going to stay at the firehouse or the ammo station. So.
Geneva, we are networked with a lot of teams over in England. There's some fantastic teams in England by far. So if you have something, if you want to go ahead and hit us up, we'll be glad to hook you up with another team. We do this as a way of getting information out, these talks. At the same time, we also do it to network with others. That's how we meet a lot of people on, so that we can share ideas. We're real big about sharing ideas. You got one?
Hey, Cheryl, to answer your question, there is times that there's stuff happens at my workplace. Yeah, it happens.
Your workplace is?
The EMS station or fire station. So.
And we find that a lot of those locations, definitely, we have investigated quite a few of them, because the guys are hearing stuff. They're trained to observe and know what's going on, but yet they still hear things.
And it's majority the older members, the older guys, they're charter members.
Yep.
I mean, it's like, yep.
So that's fantastic. I'm going to grab a couple more out of here real quick.
Yep, go ahead. If I miss your all's comment, I apologize. We'll try to get back to you later.
I'm trying to pick and choose which ones I want to play. We have a huge amount of them, and they really range quite a bit. Here's one, again, EVP. See what you got. That one, I'll give it a few seconds, see if anybody else picks up on what that one was just saying. There's a little time delay, usually between 10 and 20 seconds from the live, so we're just trying to throw it out there. Geneva, I want to learn as much as I can. This is fantastic. Thank you. I'm incredibly gifted in attracting spirits and clear audience, so I wouldn't strengthen my gifts. I'm not a ghost hunter as such, and want to research and learn and communicate with help others. People with abilities, it's phenomenal, and even if you're just starting, it's great. There's a lot. Now you can go ahead and reach out and ask for help. You can start playing along. The biggest tip I can give you is that are getting information or feel like seem to know things more often than they really should. Write it down. Every time you get a feeling or you think about something, write it down, and then every time you can confirm it, physically write confirmed. That's going to strengthen your own self-confidence, and it's going to make you stronger. Obviously, meditation is a huge step into trying to open up and move forward without a question. There's definitely several steps you can take. Danny?
Danny has, please give me some insight on this. Might be a bad spirit, being that I see it in a black shadowy look in the corner of my eye, but when I try to get a visual, it will be gone. It does it around the corner of doors. Please help.
All right. You're talking about a shadow figure. Shadow figures are extremely common. We get them all the time. We've seen a lot of them ourselves, seen shadow figures with red eyes. It does not mean anything bad or horrible by far. Number one, you can see in your peripheral vision, sees movement faster than you can straight ahead. If you don't believe it, the old monitors back when I was in school and whatnot, the original TV monitors, they actually have, it was by film, and they're going to have, it's a frame. So if you actually looked at a monitor off to the side with your peripheral, you'll actually see it scrolling. They used to be green hue. You could actually see it scrolling. If you look at it straight ahead, it looks perfectly fine. You never see the seams. Corner of your eyes, everybody talks about where they can see something in the corner of their eyes that much more. You can see movement faster. Paranormal spirits and whatnot move a lot faster than we do. They also talk a lot faster than we do. Again, just because you see something that's black, something that's dark, and maybe it only comes out in the evening time. They do a lot of peekaboo stuff when you're actually looking at a spirit, where you'll have part of a wall and you'll watch them. You'll see their entire head when they do it. You'll know it's a human-like body. They're more like observers. It's not been, you'll read a lot of stuff that they're horrible, it's all this, it's all that. We've removed a lot. We've asked a lot of them not to come back to certain locations or show themselves. And clients have never had an issue with them.
It's just checking to see what's going on.
To me, it's like an observation. It's like they don't try to interact with you.
Like,
and even if they have red eyes. But there's always going to be that situation where you can have that as well as during a demonic. Doesn't mean that that's what's engaged in it. There's a lot more to be worried about than those, by all means. Here's this was actually a demon. A demon is all it's saying. Tim, thanks for jumping on with us. Sherry, thanks for jumping on with us. Appreciate it.
Here's what Lori said, I guess.
Talking about the shadow figure, she's saying it's not a demon. It's male thin, and he was bad. He doesn't want to be bothered, and I sense it's an overdose. Okay. So there's Lori confirming the same thing. Just because you see a shadow person does not mean it's anything bad. Too many of us want to jump to saying it's bad. 37 journals. Wow. Awesome, Cheryl. That's awesome. It does make a difference. If you really, even if you're having issues at your house and you start noticing stuff, any paranormal team is generally going to tell you, can you try to keep notes? Can you keep a journal of what's going on to make it a little bit better? This is EVP. And again, EVPs, electronic voice phenomena. What is, we have a recorder. It's just Freddie and myself. We've got a recorder playing. We'll ask questions. We're trying to look for specific answers, but we're looking, if we know there's only 2 voices that should be picked up on this recorder, when we review the recorder, when we replay it, we hear somebody else's voice on it or some other sounds on it that didn't happen at the time. We've heard gunshots that were very loud, drums when we were around Native American areas that were not playing at the time. Those are electronic voice phenomena, EVPs. They can't really be explained. How did they actually get on there? And this can happen with digital recorders. It can happen with the old tape recorders. They all work the same. No, Lori, as far as if you're saying it's the one that I played, it says a demon. I don't believe it was a demon either. I mean, there was a demon in that location, but that stayed on the other side of the building. That's a great point that you're bringing up as well. Just because things say they're demons, we have 200, 300 clips a night from a demon, the devil. So it's not the same. It's not. If I was on the other side and somebody in my past I had the opportunity to visit, I would absolutely scare them on purpose. I would even make growls. Even if you hear a growl, you hear the word demon, you hear the word devil. I probably have 500 clips of demon, devil, whatever, and we don't even use most of them because most of the time that's not the case. I'll play one actually that while I've got Lori on here, I'll get to it in just a minute. I do want to play a clip and get her take on it as well, so you guys can all hear it live at the same time. But here's a EVP, just a real quick EVP.
Yes, thank you. Whatever. Contamination. Neighbor, yeah, because they're walking stuff. You're gonna.
Now that one have to be amped up. What happens is a lot of EVPs, you're going to have to. They talk very low, and most of us miss them when we're actually doing the review. So you got to look for things that are extremely low or talking at the same time. So you hear a lot of you hear like a lot of snow or a lot of static, and then you're going to hear what the female is saying.
Yes, thank you. Whatever. Contamination. Neighbor, yeah, because they're walking stuff. You're gonna.
It's a female saying, "Get off." I was the last one to sit down, so I guess I sat on her. I don't know. What's John have?
John says he has a video of a strange light manifestation in a government public building. It was recorded by a surveillance camera. Where could I submit that video for you to analyze? The video also shows how this light turns on a computer monitor nearby.
Okay. You're welcome. If it's a shorter clip, you can certainly, if you go to the very top of the page, you're going to see where we went ahead and put our link to our Facebook page. You can certainly send it over to me over there. We'll definitely review it for you. Be glad to review it. If not, just contact me and I'll give you an email so that you can drop it in if it makes it easier for you, whichever you want to do. And I agree with, again, talking about some souls not wanting to be bothered. You know, it's just like locations that have had, you know, if you had 1,000 people come in and investigate the same location, I would be the grumpiest ghost on the other side if I just kept having the same people coming in, because they're going to keep asking me, what's your name? Yeah. Is there anybody here? Make a noise. You know, we know what they're going to say. Here's another quick EVP, and this is one again where we're in a transition period. Some of the teammates are going up the stairs, and they catch a EVP before they even get to the location they're going to. Everything on that clip right there, there's two different voices. That is all 100% straight up. Which one is she replying to on that one?
Lori, which one are you replying to about being a witch?
Other one said get off. This one right now is who's the doctor, and then you can hear a man's voice say, I am. And I love it because it even has the accent of the woman. If you got one you can read or anything, go ahead. I'm going to go ahead.
I'm just scrolling down. Cheryl just said the woman was not wanting to be bothered. Lori, you mean old man like your grandma? Laugh out loud. Just, I'm not sure. She's saying something dark over there.
We ask who's in there with us. This is a spirit box. And at the end you hear a demon. Again, just because it says this location was notorious for it. The one before this EVP.
Get it.
So that was the
get up. Yeah.
Get off. Yeah.
Or get off. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel better that at least she was a witch. You know, I just felt bad for sitting on her or whatever. So.
Nice. You can see her. Okay. Scratched.
What is it?
Annette said, have you all been scratched, and what could scratch a person?
The easiest answer to that, yes, several of our teammates have been scratched. We've been scratched live, where Janie is the one who gets attacked the most because she's a medium. Not all, as Lori was talking about earlier, they don't always like the fact that you're kind of invading their privacy when they realize that somebody can see or hear them, and sometimes they get mad about it. Janie usually wears a ponytail, so she's got her hair pulled back, and we've had this live on multiple times. And you'll see the rubber band or whatever clip is holding her hair come throwing off to the side or completely get knocked out, and she'll go, oh, it just got me. I just got me. It scratched me. And it's hard because if you keep a flashlight on it, the flashlight's a little overbearing on the skin surface, so you can't see the coloration as well. But we have pictures, plenty of pictures of it. But the person will usually feel a heated sensation. It's not really like when you're getting scratched, like you go through a piece of fence or something, you get caught on the edge and you get a scratch. It's a burning sensation that people, paranormally wise, when people go ahead and get the scratch, it's usually a burn. And a lot of times it'll be a red patch. And then the redness will go away and you'll see how many lines are going across it. Very, very common.
Oh, Cabin 360.
Yes.
When you sit right next to me.
Yep, you've got it right on the back of your neck. I mean, and he would have to have been a giraffe to go ahead, and he was trying to figure out, hey, what could I have hit behind me to make it happen? Because you always want to watch for environmental issues that could cause it. We get a lot of pictures from people that say, hey, I was scratched while I was sleeping. Well, when you're asleep, you have no control, realistically. So you don't know what you might do, your fingernails, where you might scratch yourself at. And if you have cats, especially, or dogs that like to lay in your bed, that can happen as well. Exactly, Geneva. Yes, it's a very, very hot burning sensation, and not painful enough that somebody's going to cry over it, but we've had some incredible situations, and 20 minutes later they'd be completely done. The very worst ones, 20 minutes later they were gone. There was nothing to them. All right, this one is our medium had just been attacked. We end up taking our medium out of there. I get everybody out of this area, and which during live we were still videotaping, and we actually caught there was 2 EVPs that are on live. So all of our live recordings we leave an unedited version out there, so anybody can listen to it and catch the EVPs as they go. Anybody that was listening, they'll know when you go back and you play it, you go, oh, I've never heard that. Nobody said that. But we got her out of the room. Gilson is phenomenal about leaving drop recorders. That's a recorder you just leave in an area and go ahead, and even if you're leaving that area, you're done investigating, but he'll leave a recorder to see what he might pick up on. And now we're coming back across the ballroom dance floor, and we're headed back to the location that we're going to. And listen to this. I'll go up for a second. Now, Lori, I want to see whether or not you pick up on anything on this one, what your feelings, what your takes of it are. And I'm putting you on the spot, and I don't mean to. And if you don't want to comment, you don't have to. All right, somebody was asking, Lorraine, thanks for being on from the UK. We appreciate that. Elizabeth, thank you. Any of you guys experience any pain in your spine? That was ironic because then who was it? Geneva that turned around and said she was on medication for it, actually?
Yeah.
She's got.
Yeah.
Cindy, thank you so much for being on. Now, you can hear two distinct voices on, well, 2 voices on this. So I want to give it a minute or two and see if anybody has any reaction, what they feel, anything you feel from this. I'd love to know. Dawn
just wants some help, but she don't want to discuss it on here. She just wants contact her. So
never hesitate. If you don't want to put your stuff out there on public, we certainly understand. If you contact our page, myself and 3 others, I have 4 people total that actually watch our messages that come in. Just say, hey, can you PM me? I'm Robert. I'm the founder. This is
Freddie.
I'm one of our investigators. We'll be glad to go ahead. We help a lot of people one-on-one. There's a lot of times we're not even doing our lives because I'm tied up helping somebody in all different countries and all over the United States. We love to help people. There's no cost for any of us to help anybody. It's something we just enjoy doing so much.
So Dawn, yeah, just give us a message, okay?
So you can hit me up, Robert Murphy. You'll see my picture offhand is 2 headstones, and I'm in between it. So hit us back. If you shoot it straight to Paranormal Warehouse, which we love being on, unfortunately, it's not going to come to us. Just so you know. Dina, thanks for sharing it, Dina Lee. Sorry, we need to catch back up. Yes. And again, if we're looking like we're looking past you, I apologize. We do keep trying to catch up as far as on the screen that's behind. Well, she's right. That was pretty cool. That's awesome. If you actually read what Lori just wrote, and in this location, we do have something that is not human, and we knew it was not human, and she's right because it had already attacked 1 person, and it's there's other things. Chris is on. Hey, Chris, thanks for joining us, man. We appreciate it. Talking about another busy person that's always going everywhere. Argentina. Marcos, thanks for being on. We appreciate that. Again, that's what I'm saying. You have people that are very, very talented that you're lucky enough to have as viewers, and they'll go ahead and run on there for you. Chris is here for the tacos. Stay with us. We'll get your tacos, Chris. Hang in there. I might be lying.
I'll have to get us some tacos.
That is too funny. And no different than people on this side. Elizabeth, yes, I would say that's accurate as well. Something that was unholy, yes, I would definitely agree for that, for what activity we had in that area. But it's all a mindset. It's all how you perceive it upstairs, and that's why if you're already scared about things, you make sure you go with a group or you go to a location, because they already know if they've got anything negative or anything positive there at certain locations. That's where you really want to go to. Try not to go out by yourself and just then you go home and you're all scared about it as well. That's not wonderful. Some places you can go to, the Gettysburg Ghost Exchange for one, if you like to do it, and you go up to PA. If you go to Gettysburg Ghost Exchange, they actually let you play with and use some of the equipment, put your hands on and learn how to play some of it, which is really ideal, because you really want to know how to use the equipment when you go out there, so what you're getting, is accurate. Yeah, that definitely was not residual, a residual human. Pretty neat. Sounds like a good idea sometime. And actually, unfortunately, that building in particular does have some a very negative little thing there. And they ended up selling the building. I think just about everybody on the team cried, because it was an awesome place for us. And now we're kind of curious to see if they're going to make it. They're talking about making it residential, and things have not been cleared out there yet. So we'll see if we get another call. If we get a call, Lori, we'll hit you up and see if you can work us in your schedule and come out there with us. It stayed there. We knew it was still there.
Yes.
Elizabeth, I'm taking it as a seer, as far as somebody who. We have a medium on our team, Janie. She's phenomenal. She's incredibly accurate about everything she comes up with. It's been proven over and over. She's pretty much my ghost hound. She knows that's what I call her. It's kind of funny. She doesn't take offense to it whatsoever. She understands. There's certain reactions that she will have if she gets into something extremely negative. And when she does, I know what I'm dealing with already at that point. I usually remove her away from the situation, because it's going to use her as a conduit. The first thing something negative wants to do is it wants to establish control. So it will try to go ahead and attack somebody, even to go ahead and try to cause fear with the other team members. That's one of the things it's doing, as well as to be able to control what information that medium is giving about it. So just our take on it. And again, you're welcome to believe anything you want to believe. I'm not telling you everything you have to believe everything we say. By far, that's the last thing I'm telling you. I'm just giving you our own field experience. Joanne.
Joanne, I want to know how my sister really died, because she lived with her man she was going to marry, and my sister had seizures. And when she had one seizure, she would urinate, and she never did. And so we don't know how she died really. Can you help me so I can be comfortable with her? 2 years later, her boyfriend died like she had said she was going to do if he got with someone else.
That's not information that myself or Freddie can give to you. We'd be absolutely completely lying to you to give you any information. However, if somebody else picks up on it while you're on here and they can let you know, they certainly will. Mediums, there's some phenomenal mediums out there, psychics, people with incredible abilities that would be able to help you with that. Unfortunately, we're not going to give you something or try to give you some wrong information. Neither of us have the abilities like that. We can work with people with abilities and help them learn it, but I don't want the ability personally. You want it?
No.
More power to Lori and everybody else. Don't want that stuff. It's a lot easier dealing with it when you can't honestly see it. Tammy?
Have you guys ever had spirits follow you home? And if so, what do you do about it?
Oh, yeah. I'm always looking for confirmation. So my wife had told me that she knew that there was somebody else here or something else here with us, with me, attached to me. Ironically, I had a very talented person in Georgia who hit me out of the blue the next day, Philip. I hadn't even talked to him, and he hit me up and said, "Hey, look, I don't mean to bother you. I don't mean to get in your personal space, but you have something that's attached to you." So that was cool. And then the very next day, Pam from Gettysburg Ghost Exchange hit me up and said, "Hey, when do you want to come in for a session?" I hadn't even talked to her for like 6 months, a Reiki session. When do you want to come in for this? Because I think you need one. And none of these people were attached to each other. Then we go live on Thursday, and people start talking about this woman, like witch or whatever, that was around me, that was attached to me. Yes, we do have attachments. We have had attachments. We've changed up. We make sure we've got a particular prayer we do to start with, and we got a closing prayer that we do. That's for us. Your religion, your beliefs is all up to yourself. But since we've done that, we've been very good about taking care of attachments. I remove attachments. I remove my own, learn that they can jump back to my house, so it's like they have your area code. My wife did not like that. So now I've learned how to make sure I can trap them in a place and leave them there so they can't come to the house. We actually had a client while we were at the KOA. You want to just give a quick description of that real fast? Just, not the names, just real quick.
Yeah, it's funny. A guy that I know, really good friend with, works the haunt at the KOA. Apparently was having some issues. Janie asked that when we were going to do the investigation this past weekend that she needed to talk to this individual. So I got a hold of him. He came down, and he was having some issues. He had an attachment. There was also some problems going on with some kids and his family, and some things were done. I just talked to the guy yesterday to see how he was doing. He feels like a new man, and he feels like he has a new family now. So there were things that I didn't even know about him that I couldn't even tell Janie.
So he had an attachment. Yep. We went ahead and I removed the attachment, and things have been perfectly fine for him. We've had clients. We had a woman. She'd been dealing with nearly 3 decades of something coming nearly every night. An incubus, whether you believe in them or not, was visiting her ever since she was a very young teenager. And after we were done, she's never had another visitation since. We've had several people that have had attachments that no longer have had any of the experiences. Now, if you are sensitive, it doesn't mean that you're never going to see something or hear something anymore. You're still going to have that, but you're not going to have something attached to you, which a lot of people don't even know. Your personality, the person that has the attachment, their personality will change. They usually get a little bit, they get a lot grumpier, meaner, nastier. Their personality is just negative. More a little isolated, things to know. Go back, I'm sorry, somebody was talking about speaking in Latin.
Lori was hitting on, I guess, that location that no longer that we use.
Right.
So.
And then Elizabeth was talking about, go back, there you go, because I know they speak in Latin. If you're talking about demons do not only speak in Latin. Demons can speak in a numerous amount of languages, in all sincerity. Once you have a lot of experience with it, you start finding out, if you have firsthand experiences, you start finding out just how many different, that they really can talk in a lot of different voices and languages.
I'm just trying to catch back up, everybody. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Keep on rocking. I'm going to play a couple more clips real quick. That's real broke up. I'm going to play it again. It's different voices that you're hearing, but you got to remember they're manipulating things, and it's actually, and I'm going to play it one more time, and then I'm going to end up unfortunately planting the seed so you'll know exactly what it says. Rob, please, could you help out? Robert, look here is what it's saying. Rob, can you please open up? It's like she's still living the same way before she died. Yeah, I'm lost on that one, Laurie. You're going to have to help me out a little bit. Rob, can you please open up? It's like she's still living the same way before she died. I'm very lost on that. It's multiple helps, and a lot of times they'll end up actually using your name as far as to say help. She must have had a child named Evelyn. I can hear her say, Rob, please open up, and then I hear a gunshot. Wow, I'm not even sure what that's all about.
Your
The one on here?
EVP, yep.
I just went through 4 of them, so I'm not sure which one
The
it
one where it
is.
says please, Rob, please, or something.
Here's one.
That's what she's talking about.
Is that the one you think?
Yeah.
There's something weird there because that's the location we always got about this dead baby, and we don't know anything as far as about the gunshot. The only thing we have about the gunshot is we've got one clip that says we shot him in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what that was referring to. But we never knew what the dead baby was in that location. We got the dead baby the last 6 times we were there. It was always talking about a dead baby. So ultimately, though, there's a lot that can reach from the other side that can go ahead and ask for help. We're asking when we get into a location, regardless of what we're getting, we try to get to more. See, multiple people heard gunshots.
Cheryl keeps.
That's awesome. I mean, we appreciate it. And I love the fact that people bring a whole new aspect to it. People with abilities, they can see and hear so much more. It's phenomenal.
That's awesome. Lori said her name is Evelyn.
What do you need? What do you need? What do you need?
What do you need? Help her stop it. I was just kind of, because it was another one that we got kind of in the same, I was kind of curious to pick up. This is a spirit box. That one's a little bit, but we shot people in public.
Cheryl's getting the same name as Lori's getting, so Evelyn. The baby's name's Evelyn.
We never got that. We never tied in the name to the baby or anything. So that's awesome.
Thank you all.
How do I stop it? Awesome. Good pickups. Corey, thanks for being on. Are you caught up right now or what?
Yeah, we're caught up.
Okay.
I'm sure I'm missing people's comments, and I apologize again. So.
That's the original clip that we had, and you'll hear it. That's again, this was on a spirit box, and that's the parapolice. We've been called all kinds of different names as far as, I mean, we've been called some bad names, but
No, never. You never.
I never used to believe, and I apologize, don't take offense if you're a witch. You know, I didn't really, before getting into this, I really didn't believe that into witches. I didn't believe in the cults. I didn't believe in any of that could have any type of power, whatever. And that's not so long ago. So it's amazing then when you catch these clips, and I've got this one right here. I'm going to play it for a sec. The witch right here, hide. And this is something that's been, obviously, I don't think this was, I think that's more a residual statement that was caught. But here's obviously back a ways. This location in particular, before it was built up into a city or anything, this was back you know, we know it was a stable at one time. We've actually picked up the smells of it, of being a stable. But again, it's not just the building, it's not the structure. It could be another structure that was there previous, or it could be what happened on the land itself. Land itself will absolutely hold energy, especially depending on what's around, whether it's a makeup of quartz or limestone, water. That's very deep, actually.
Yeah, that's very.
It really
very
is.
Deep. That's very deep.
Jared, thanks for being on with us. Thank you very much. Lori, thank you so much. I mean, that's actually pretty impressive. Wow. I wish, yeah, it would have been awesome. Witchcraft is definitely real, and it can be used for both good and bad. No question, Justin. I am a firm believer. Hey, Henny, thanks for jumping on. I am a firm believer that you're absolutely. I know you're absolutely correct in that, Justin. I absolutely agree with it.
Lori wants you to replay it again.
Which one was that?
Lori, which one? That last one he played? Lori said, "Call me when you're."
That's the last clip I played. I'm just trying to. I want to catch back up to Lori for a minute and find out as far as which one she wanted me to play. All right, that's cool. There was somebody. I thought somebody else had something. All right, the last one. That was the last one. Anybody that's watching, you're watching this happen. I mean, Lori has never been with us. She's never been to any of these locations. I've seen her once or twice in public. For the most part, that's it. Our contact has been nil. So when you're seeing the stuff that she's hitting on, pretty impressive to if it's first time witnessing. A lot of people we talk to, they're like, you know, I never believed in a medium or whatever. When you personally actually interact with somebody, Cheryl or somebody, it's amazing what you hear, what they pick up on, and what they can tell you about what you've had happen or going on with you.
That's what Cheryl's picking up.
I apologize, just trying to give a little bit of time. I was trying to see. Okay, by all means. There was a location we went to, and in certain situations, if we have help asked for us, we want to go ahead and we want to help. And if it's a matter of helping people cross over, I believe we're all put in a place for a particular reason. It's just, again, that's my personal belief, and things definitely happen. This one that we're about to play, it was ironic because we were told once we got to this location, we're not allowed to cross anybody over. And so we asked a question. I just want to put that in your mind, and that's it. Ask Melissa, somebody keeping you here. And she comes back and says 2 people. She responded, says 2 people, and it was 2 people that are actually running the place. So it was, you know, for us, it was pretty cool. I agree with you, Lori, 100%. I don't like the fact that people would try to hold a spirit. I mean, let's be real. If we're not crossing them, if it's not real that we can cross somebody, then what do they have to worry about? If we turn around and cross someone so that they can go on to wherever they're supposed to be, why would that be a wrong thing? I'm sure we wouldn't have the ability to do it. And it's something we do live as well because we're asking for everybody's help when we do something like that. Sometimes we'll do it by ourselves and where we're at. But I absolutely, and I told the owner flat out, you know, it's his place, true, but I absolutely disagree with anybody. And at that time, you know, I don't think spirits should be made. There should be profit made off of trying to hold a spirit in a location. To me, that's not me. I don't like it. Nope. And that's my point of view. Again, I mean, other people might have different. I'm sure if you've got a haunted location and that's your draw, then, you know, I just don't think money should be made on something like that. And unfortunately, it happens. Question we get asked sometimes is, do spirits get hungry? What do you think? What do you think? Do spirits get hungry? So let's ask a spirit whether or not they get hungry and see what their reply is. Can't quite make out the word it says, so let's just leave it at that, okay? And post the word.
Do you get hungry or thirsty? That's what I was just thinking.
That was Gills saying that's what I was just thinking. And then somebody's asking where the chicken is. We'll just put it at that. So it's kind of neat that you can get certain responses. I believe Carmados will come back to take care of. There's a variety of reasons people also ask as far as with spirits and why they don't cross. You know, sometimes it's untimely, things happen. Maybe they're whoever, in my view, it's no different than like the Grim Reaper. Grim Reaper's always thought of this horrible figure. Well, think of the Grim Reaper and he's been called the ferryman, the boatman, whatever. Somebody, if you pass to the other side, in all sincerity, if you woke up, well, you don't wake up or whatever. In our frame of mind, you don't wake up, but all of a sudden you're in a whole nother place. Would you want somebody there, especially a friendly face, that's going to guide you to the next step? And again, your faith is in your beliefs is completely yours, but just bear with me for a minute. Hypothetically, you cross over and then you're there. Do you want somebody that is going to take you to another place, or do you want to just kind of be left hanging around, not knowing anything and not being able to make contact? I mean, personally, me, I want a friendly face. I want somebody who's going to take me to the other side. So,
Justin posted on there, crossing or helping spirits in a haunted location becomes complicated when investigating a pay-to-investigate location. What are your thoughts on the situation? Do you clean a place or cross entities when it's a paid location?
And that's really what it comes down to, Justin, in all sincerity. There are situations. I know we had a little girl, and half my team was extremely disrupted over it. We'll never go back to the place, but the little girl won't stay there either. So I'm not going to say one way or the other, but I'm glad the little girl's where she's at. That's just my take on it. I don't even go to paid locations anymore because I don't want to be in that situation. I love some of the location, the decor. Like going to Moundsville. We went to Moundsville. Great location as far as to see the old prison and whatnot. But I don't want to go to a place that I do not have the freedom or the ability that if I'm asked to help or my team's asked to help, we're there for a reason. Some reason or another, we've been brought to this location, and then we're told, no, we can't go ahead and help a trapped spirit.
It's hard to do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a hard time with that, quite honestly. A great question to bring up. Who do we have? Audra just came on? Yeah, Audra. All right. Audra, thanks for joining us. Absolutely. Lori, another thing that Lori just brought up. We have run into that numerous times where somebody was so upset with their own actions. They knew they had done wrong. And sometimes it was the wrong that they had done was completely accidental. We had a young man who honestly, I honestly believe it was an accident. He didn't control his brother. His brother fell into the water and drowned. So he felt that it wasn't his place to go any further. He wasn't justified or worthy of going to the light, of going on. And he was staying in a location because he thought he murdered his brother, basically, is what he thought. And that wasn't the case. Nancy, thank you for being on. Thank you so much for being on, Lori.
See you,
Get in
Lori.
touch with us sometime, Lori, when you get a chance. We'll bring you in for a location or two that we have, see if you want to anyway. Definitely appreciate your insight very, very much. Anybody that has abilities, we always appreciate that very, very much. I'm the same way in that. I would definitely, I don't want to be stuck in a location. And a lot of locations, you know, and it's a touchy subject because I'm going to talk about suicide for a minute. That's a very touchy subject. People get really worried about, okay, some religions say if you commit suicide, of course, it's a sin. You're not going to go anywhere. You're going to go to hell, blah, 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 whatever else. We know out of doing enough times that if we go to a location where there's been suicide, there's likely to be activity that from a particular spirit that's still lingering there, still something that's they're not moving on for a reason. Doesn't mean that they've gone to hell or anything like that. Excuse me. This is just, again, our opinion, my opinion in particular. We can go to those locations. It's more so to me because it happened. It wasn't really like a planned event. They crossed themselves. They ended themselves before that was their time. It's no different than all these people that call it a miracle. You know, they should have been dead. They wake up a half an hour after they've been pronounced dead, and they're perfectly fine. It's not their time. So they go ahead and move on.
Yeah.
And I think when you end your own life prematurely, I think, unfortunately, you don't have that escort to take you over, if that makes any sense to you. Go back to the smelling colors part.
Replying to Justin.
Okay.
Yeah.
And actually, we do, Sandy, make sure I talk to you about that sometime. I do have some insight for you on that about spelling colors. Will you answer private messages? Go back up one. What?
Sorry.
Jacqueline, absolutely. If you go to our page, which is right on the very top, do not just send messages right here to Paranormal Warehouse. If you're looking to contact us, you need to go to our Facebook page, which is Elite Parasoc. If you just type in, it's tagged at the very top of the page. But if you type in under the search bar on Facebook, Elite, E-L-I-T-E, Para, P-A-R-A, S-O-C, Elite Paranormal Society. It's Elite Parasoc. I just shortened it down. If you type that in, you'll get right to us. You can go ahead and send us a message. It'd be private. It's just there's only 4 of us that answer those messages, and we'll be glad to answer your questions. Okay, Justin's already getting to the point. You think some of them are absolutely afraid. You know, there's a lot of people that don't believe in judgment and all this other stuff. But I mean, if you wake up and all of a sudden you go, "Uh-oh, I didn't believe this could actually happen," and then there's that possibility, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to be judged." Would you leave that location? Because if you notice, they won't go out of that structure. Typically, they do not leave a structure unless they're actually attached to somebody. They won't leave a structure. Cheryl, we love doing investigations. By all means, you'd be fun to have an investigation with as well because you
Come to Gettysburg.
You bring quite a bit to it. It is awesome. Anytime we're out in the public, especially if we see people that see us when if we're up at Shepherdstown or something, we're out in the public. We want people to come over. We want them to put their hands on our equipment. We want them to actually go ahead and try to do it. To me, it's awesome to be able to let them experience what we experience all the time. Go back up. It's like being imprisoned. It's horrible to keep them if they want to cross. I agree. I'm just, don't bring me to a paid location. Don't ask me to come if you want them to stay there, because if they want help and we're able to help them, we're going to do it. And again, everybody has their Parasoc Society. Don, thanks for being on. We appreciate that. Again, we're not telling you we're the only ones with you have to do everything our way or believe everything we think. We're just trying to give you what we've learned from the field. This is not from books. This is not from just hearing he said, she said. This is what we've learned from the field. I am coming to get out of here. Did you? Oh, get the signs off there. I am coming to Gettysburg. Woohoo! Even if you're going to come to Gettysburg next month, let us know when you're up there. We're only about 45 minutes away from Gettysburg, so we'll go up. Elizabeth, have you ever used a Ouija board? I hate the boards, to be honest with you. Only because people say it's Hollywood and all this other stuff. I can tell you most of our worst cases that we have, like 99.9% of our worst cases that we've ever had, that darn board's been involved. You can call it coincidental. I don't. I don't like the board. Saying that, though, I know some people that use the board and they use it very well. Not a question. The problem is there's too many people out there that don't know how to use it, and they promote the board was promoted originally for young kids, like 8-year-olds and up. And that to me makes no sense. Why are you going to put a board together or something together to promote communication with the other side for a child? That absolutely makes no sense to me whatsoever.
And sell it in toy stores.
In toy stores. That's where it had come out at. So don't care for them at all. And again, it's a big no-no. But if you know how to use them, God bless you, knock yourself out with it. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you so much for putting that up there. Again, Sandy just put our link up there. If you have a private message, you don't want to be public about stuff, that's perfectly fine. We're not going to share your information. Feel free to hit us up, message us, and if it's something we can answer, we'll answer. If it's help you need, we'll try to network with somebody closer to you. We do deal with a lot of the very negative side of things as well. So,
You want to go to Indiana?
I'd like to go all over the place, and if I hit the lottery, I am going all over the place. We are going all over the place.
Don just said, I wish that you all would please come to Evansville, Indiana.
Evansville, Indiana?
I can get you a place. People from all over would come to have a convention here, okay? I would love that. I want people to come. I want to be able to meet people. I want other people to meet others. That you have no idea how much history there is in Evansville, Indiana. So
we love to travel by far. Unfortunately, for most of our cases, we do basically 4 hours. But we are going to, if things work out well for us and things continue to go, we are going to be going out. Meet and greets are great. I mean, when you can talk straight up and just be casual about things and answer questions and give real information, I think that's huge. A big deal for this is when I first got into the field, trying to know where to get the information from about, in general, just spirits and ghosts, where to get the information about abilities, people, how to investigate. There was no real avenue to get it. Now there's a lot of live streaming going on, which is phenomenal, which I'm thrilled for and everything. And that's all we're trying to do is we're just trying to put it out there to give that resource to help people. Again, even in the evening times, we have, there'll be some of my teammates that'll be doing a live Paratalk at 7 p.m. every Thursday. You have something?
No, she just wants us to repeat your Facebook. Okay. I guess the name of the Facebook.
Okay. We're Elite Paranormal Society is our team name again. If you just go ahead and go into the search bar and type in Elite, E-L-I-T-E, Para, P-A-R-A, SOC, S-O-C, Elite Para SOC. You just put that in the search bar of Facebook, you'll find us. We're based in Maryland. And again, for who was talking about Indiana? Don? Don, like Justin said, he's going to be in Indiana as well. Justin really takes a very scientific look at things. Again, it's great that it's not somebody that's going to just jump to the conclusion that everything's paranormal. We will not either. Thank you again, Sandy. Somebody like Justin is really cool because what happens is he's trying to take a whole different approach to it. He's going to go ahead. There's some people in the field that will really, they're not going to jump on everything and say, and again, every one of you guys could send us pictures, but if it's a lot of blown up, I'm using this as an example for the differences. If you blow up an image so many times, your mind's going to create images out of what you're blowing up. All the pixelation, you can see all the dots. Unfortunately, all of us are susceptible to that. It's called pareidolia. Some of us are not going to care for that too much at all. I want to see a picture that I don't have to blow up, 30, 40, 200 times to be able to actually see what's in it. And that's going to be honest feedback. Justin would give honest feedback. Mm-hmm. He would look at something and say, well, it could possibly be this. I don't believe it to be that, whatever. And I like that a lot more.
And even wants us to go to England. So.
Honestly, England is phenomenal. Behind Normandy. Normandy is my #1 place I want to go on my bucket list, only because of just what happened there on the beaches. I'd really like to check it out one time. But when it comes after that, I'm sorry, but England is definitely there with it. Let you go through that for a second. I'm going to go ahead.
So I'm just gonna try to catch back up.
We had a location where we had Gilson. Gilson is one of our team members. Robin, hey, good to see you
Robin.
again. Gilson is one of. Oh, battery got drained. No, thanks for being back. Gilson's one of our team members, and the unique part that Gilson brings to it, and this is the second. He's the second most attacked person on our team, is because he's actually a minister as well. He's an ordained minister. So when you get into a negative area, he can be one of the ones that can be attacked. And he's learned really well. You know, he goes ahead and he's got his beliefs and his prayers, and he does really good with his faith. So it helps out. But one of the first times he was really, really attacked, it was, you're in the dark. We were laughing. It was Laura, myself, and him. Laura's another lead investigator as well. And he was in a chair, and he's kind of pulled down, but he had this weird expression on his face, like he's right in the middle of a sneeze. And we happen to look over, like, what's going on, and look at him, and it's like, do you have a sneeze? And he's like, no, I'm in so much pain, it hurts so much. Well, we end up asking at 2 different times who was hurting Gilson, and I want to play these 2 clips.
Who was touching Gilson earlier?
I asked who was touching Gilson earlier. And then a different trip there.
Who was touching Gilson earlier?
No, I'm sorry, that's the same one.
Who was touching Gilson earlier?
Comes up as the butcher. Who was touching Gilson earlier? The butcher. And then we have another one. If I come across the other clip, Gilson asks, "Who was touching me? Why? Who was trying to hurt me?" And it came back again, the butcher. So it's kind of funny that he gets somebody on that side. Was he a real butcher when he was alive on our side? Who knows? Or was he considered the butcher?
Right. Yep.
Don't know. Got Lori back on. Hopefully it's the one I want. Lori, get your take on this for a sec, if you get a chance. It's the same thing. It's repeated three times. It's just changed up just a little bit. The very first one is the original clip. Now it's going to freeze up on me. What do we got?
Dawn just said, that's what I need. I'm going to be honest with you all, okay? I need somebody to come to my home, okay? I don't need to be on television. I need somebody to come to my home and tell me what they think is going on, really, okay, what happened on the beaches.
The beaches in Normandy, that was D-Day. That was with when so many of the forces actually went across to go ahead and repel the Germans. It's just how much bloodshed occurred at such a short amount of time. I am curious what's still out there. If you go over to England and Scotland and all these places where there was a lot of incredible hand-to-hand battles, I would love to know what goes on there. Make your coffee with holy water.
Oh, Justin.
you gotta love Justin. He cracks you up.
Hello, Deborah.
A biker could have been. That's fine though. Gilson will feel better about that.
Right, yeah.
But I don't think he'll be appreciative that Gilson was actually a biker too.
Yeah.
Which is even better. I want to see if she picks up on anything on this one though. play it one more time. I know for a lot of people it's doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Lori's already picking up on it though. Hey, Laura.
Hey, Laura.
Talk about our other lead investigator just a few minutes ago, and there she jumps on. That's awesome. We appreciate that. Lori, yeah, that was definitely something that's, I'll talk to you more about it off to the side in a little bit. I was just kind of curious to see whether or not you could pick up on it, getting like a mob or biker gang type of thing. That's neat. As far as for, I'm taking that was the butcher part, or is it the last one? So, when we go to people's houses, we love to do the live streams only because we have people with abilities that can tell you what's going on even more deeper, that are giving you reads from, that again are around the world, that are actually telling you things that are happening. You don't have to be on a live feed. If we go to a location, we don't have to go ahead and make it live. We do plenty of things confidential. We never give away the client's information unless the client absolutely wants that. So the only thing, if you follow us and you go to watch any of our live investigations, I'm going to tell you up front, it's the only thing I ever lie to anybody about. If we were in Maryland at the time and we're actually, the house is actually in Rockville, we might say Frederick, we might say somewhere else. We're not going to give you an actual area of where we're located at unless we want people to come on out there and be willing to come investigate with us. We got to keep the privacy for the client, and the teams out there are the same way. The teams out there are very good about that. They're not going to give away your personal information. It's it is really a weird one to try to go ahead and get. It's a lot. All these are a lot easier when you have headphones on. Of course, I've probably played nearly every one of these over 100 times and listened to it, and actually watched it on the computer so I can watch the graphics. Anytime you're listening to them, you want to try to find out how many syllables are in each of the words and figure it. Kirsty, thanks so much. We appreciate it. You guys have issues with someone who didn't want you there in that place because this guy was warning about something outside. Not the last one that I played was not. That was one that I was trying to help somebody that was across the country. Trying to help them out with a certain case. And again, I'll give you more information about that later, Lori, if you want to hear more about it by far. Very interesting. I don't know if I didn't give a shout out to Sue. I apologize, Sue. I definitely appreciate you being on with us. I know you jumped on a lot earlier. I didn't know whether or not I'd said anything or not.
I think we missed her. Sorry, Sue.
And again, being able to go ahead and play some audio clips, I really like the audio clips. Being able to share, I love hearing the feedback people get. And again, you don't have to be considered to have abilities to be able to give us your input. I appreciate all of it. And another point I want to make real quick, when we're on a live investigation, you can help us debunk things just as well. If you see something and you think, well, maybe they're doing this, or maybe it was their shadow, can they move again? You just type in the comments, hey, can Rob put his arm back up like he did a minute ago so I can see if that caused the shadow? We're fine with that. As long as you're respectful, man, you're more than welcome to pretty much say anything you want or ask anything you want. Paranormal related, please. We're very good with it. A lot of times, I just don't think we actually, the perception, how do ghosts and spirits perceive us? How do we perceive them? We think of them as being translucent, clear, whatever. We can't see them. What do they see for us? Yeah. You ever thought about the other side? How are we perceived? Play this one for you. I'm going to play just the part that's on from that's being answered. Let me ask you, who will ask his spirit? Any ideas what that's supposed to mean? but you can hear the different sounds of the voices to make up this one sentence. And this has not been manipulated. This is all one sentence the way it was played out. The only thing it has been filtered. Don't get me wrong. I have filtered it to take out all the, it was on the spirit box, so there was a lot of white noise. That is not any of our voices. And another, we go live. One of the most awesome things we can do is we're always looking for specific answers or reactions to what we're doing. So if we're using a particular instrument, we're trying to go ahead and get them to react within 10 seconds. You know, the flashlights or something like that. When we're asking questions, one of the ideas that we'll do is like, especially if we're in a basement, you got to remember the spirit box, we're not sending anything out with a spirit box, but we are using radio waves. You know, just like your regular radio stereo or anything else. We're going through, when we use ours, we're going to go through the fastest setting, which is going to be about 14 stations a second. So it's going through really fast. We're sweeping really super fast. So we shouldn't have any stuff like that. Who will ask his spirit? We shouldn't have several words in a line, a sentence, or anything else coming back through it for us. But what we're going to do is we want to take things a step further. You know, we want to go ahead in the dark. We're going to go ahead and ask questions like, how many fingers am I holding up? And you'll hear us do it quite often because we're looking for that specific reaction. We want them to see if they're going to say 2. Don't know where they're at, whatever. Then we'll go to, they answer the first time, we pretty much still discount the first time. If we ask them, what is my name, and get Robert back, got plenty of clips, that happens quite often. Well, then we'll go ahead and take it to the next step. What color is my shirt? You know, we start getting 2 or 3 answers. That's somebody specifically that we're obviously talking to. You start hearing them respond and saying black. And a lot of times it's not 100% crisp. When you do enough audio review, you'll find out if you slow the speed down to 86%, keep your raw clip, keep your original. But then if you slow that clip down to 86% on average, you'll be able to make out a lot more of what they are saying. They usually talk faster. Is she responding to somebody right now?
I think she basically just responding to what we asked about how they see us. So it depends on the soul who passed, because some don't see anything else, but they remembered as if they were alive. So some don't recognize anyone. But some don't want you fixing the home or coming into their home or place, changing it.
All right. So for what Lori's talking about, if you go in and you renovate a house, you start making changes to a house, people always talk about, when the ones that are experiencing activity, that's one of the questions we asked. Was there any renovations done recently? There was any changes done recently? And that's typically was spot on to when activity typically starts to jump.
Well, like a lot of the residual stuff, haunting stuff, people say that we see spirits come through walls and stuff like that.
There you go.
Well, if you look at the blueprints before, there was actually a doorway there at one point in time. So, yeah, people are seeing that. And they start getting more activity once they start making changes. And, yep.
So, again, like you're saying, just to explain to those that don't know, two types of activity. You have residual and you have intelligent. Residual is just a playback. It's just something that's happened in the past and it's going to play over and over when the environmental conditions are right. Intelligent is something that you can interact with. It can interact with you. You could have a residual that could say, get out, and it's just trapped there. It's playing over and over. You could hear footsteps, and you start taking your notes down, and in 15 every night, you're hearing these footsteps. 80 or 90% of the time, those footsteps are residual. Now, if you wait for them, those footsteps start to go up, and you say, hey, and they stop, and they start coming back down. Now it's intelligent. It's reacting to what you did or what you said. So 2 definite things to know about that. Different types of energies, and like I say, the one energy will not do anything, any harm to you whatsoever, and that's residual. It's just there. It's imprints on the environment.
Well, get back to animals and stuff. We're talking about Engine 1, the TV room. Used to be where the horse stables used to be. Numerous members have sat there in a chair, and all of a sudden you hear horse sounds, and there's no horses around that area anymore. That's where they kept the horses at. So
It's worth knowing. So if somebody can actually go ahead and let you know, hey, it's residual, man, of all times, you should definitely not worry whatsoever if they say, if you learn that it's residual. Relax, it's okay. And even though we get into some really, we have plenty of it, we have several very nasty cases, unfortunately. That's not the popularity out there. Even though it's played up on TV that everything is horrible, well, let's be real. That's what sells. That's what really gets a lot of people want to see that type of stuff. They want to see just how bad things could they really be that bad? And the answer is yes, unfortunately. But what most people deal with, it's more grumpy ghost syndrome. Like I said, if there was one person in my past that I could go back and give a hard time to, it would be a grumpy ghost. I'm not a demon, but I would growl and do whatever I could to scare them. Grumpy ghost is when somebody turns around and they've lived in their house for so long, you come in, you start making changes, and they want to do things to scare you or make you feel uncomfortable because they don't like the fact that you're changing their house. To them, it's still their house. And it's nothing horrible. It's nothing bad that's going to happen. So slow down before you believe that.
And just basically
Go ahead.
What Lori touched on. Only residual happens only because the soul who's stuck there or chooses to stay there will show you they are there. The spirit that is haunting a place is someone who was alive that has secrets, or they don't want anyone knowing it or finding the proof.
Now you hear people talk about growls, and a lot of people say it's demonic if it's growls or whatever. There's different elements out. Elemental is one thing. There's different figures, different types of inhuman activity that's out there. We're at a location. Janie is our medium. She's telling me about this little boy. I connect really, really well with this little boy there. He could do anything. If we have flashlights down, he can read my mind. He's completely tuned in. He's an awesome young man. Jeremiah, he's about 5 years old. But this thing comes in, this elemental comes into the room at the time when I'm trying to work with him as far as to have him turn some lights on. He gets scared. Janie picks up on it. I don't usually pick up on anything. I knew where it was at when it came in. And then we catch a small clip of it making a sound. And I want to play that for you real quick.
What do you think, Jeremiah? Can you help Miss Lee with the lights? Come on.
Jeremiah will only turn the lights on if I ask him to turn lights on, and then if I turn around like with the homeowner and say, well, can you be good for Miss Lee and go ahead and do it for her, then he'll do it. But he will not do it for anybody at that location unless I ask him to. It's just a connection we have. I don't know why that is.
Okay. So proud of you when you use the lights. That's awesome.
I'm going to skip forward. This thing enters the room.
Thank you, Jeremiah.
He turns.
Hold it on, baby.
Jeremiah turns the light on for the Miss Lee.
Keep it on. Keep it on.
So it was very low. You'll hear like the snow or the static when I had to go ahead and increase the volume, but you can hear what it's doing.
Keep it on.
And again, it sounds like a growl. Like, people could take it really, oh my gosh, whatever. It's just the sound that it makes. It's not a big deal. You can't take everything. A dog barks, a bird chirps. We talk English or whatever language. Different things talk in different ways. Don't take offense or don't worry and get all freaked out if you hear what you think is a growl sound. Especially if you're watching one of our videos and Laura's on. Love you, Laura, but we know how your stomach is. That sounds demonic.
Right.
Don, we definitely appreciate that, and we're very, very glad that you went ahead and jumped on with us. We're going to go for about another 15 minutes, then we're going to go ahead and cut off. What time are we up to now? About 15 minutes, and then we'll go ahead and cut off. So we're going to cut off here shortly. We appreciate having all you guys on and the interaction and everything. You're always you're always free to go to our page and jump on. Everything you see us do is always unscripted. It's very real. If you ever have questions, we're always open. If we did a flashlight session and we're live and we're doing it at the time and you want us to take one apart because you think we've got a remote control, which we've been told before, we'll take them apart. We'll show you, if you're live with us, we'll show you how to set them. You can pick them up, do anything you want with them and set them and make it happen. and see what happens. I know what's going to happen. You know, certain locations they work, other locations they don't. It's up to whoever's there to do it. Pretty simple, but we're open. So Laura got that pretty fine. Any of our teammates, again, if you have questions about any of them, you're more than that you want to ask them in particular, as long as it's paranormal related. You know, everybody is very, very calm to sit here and talk to.
For the most part.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, even you.
Sometimes. Sometimes.
So if you guys have particular clips, Sandy, you're awesome. You're definitely awesome about doing that.
For sharing the page. Appreciate it.
Yeah, Freddie definitely appreciates it even more.
I'm slacking. Yeah.
Slacking on me. Hurting.
I can't multitask, Sandy, so thank you.
Yeah, Sandy, seriously, thank you. You can send messages to our page. If you have clips you want us to go ahead and check out for you, we'll be glad to check them out for you. And I don't just use our own medium. We have a fantastic medium, Janie. I do network with several others, and I'll find out what they get from different pictures, different whatever. If they get something, they do. If they don't, they don't. They're not going to make stuff up, and that's what I prefer in this field is nothing we do are we going to go ahead and make up. I just don't believe it to do that. Once you ruin your reputation, somebody says, oh, you know, you're manipulating and cheating and making stuff up, that's it. You're done in this field. Fortunately, you just don't need that in this field anymore. Laura, how far do you take when, let's say, I invaded the house by moving, regardless of what I take? Do I get waking up at 3 o'clock? I don't know what to do anymore. I'm sorry, she's saying basically with her being at the house, she always feels like she's getting woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Couple simple things, Laura. Less sugar. I'm just kidding. Before bedtime, you know, cut down on the sugar. A lot of people, it's a very, very common practice that a lot of people get woke up at 3 a.m. in the morning. You know, there's all kinds of reasons. People say, you know, the witching hour, the devil hour, tiger's hour. I mean, there's tons of different reasons why people believe it to be. As far as a lot of people feel, if you've ever been, even back when you were in school, you're around a group of people in a cafeteria or something, it's really weird because you can sense when somebody's watching you, and then all of a sudden you turn around, you look over, and there's that real weird guy looking at you, kind of like staring at, and it's like, what? But how did you sense that? Yeah. So the question is are we sitting there watching? I am not going there, Justin. So is somebody sitting there watching us? And that's what some of the people say is at 3 o'clock. It's because somebody's, you know, the veil's thinnest, and you're feeling the presence of somebody watching you. You can block your room. You can learn how to block your room. When we have a location where people are being extremely disturbed, the first thing I do is I block the bedrooms first, just because what I have to do is I have to convince the homeowner or the clients this really works. And if you say, I use sage, holy water, and I do some prayers, and I go ahead and put the sign of the cross, and that's me. That's what works for me. But I put that out on the entrances, at the doorways and whatnot, or windows, and I block anything from coming into that room anymore. I sage it, push everything out, and then when the clients go in, they can go in, go to sleep, and actually not have an issue. It's helped an awful lot for these people that have been waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Other people are going to be waking up because they're always thinking, their mind never slows down. They're very light sleepers. And in doing that, grounding is huge for helping people that are having sleep issues as well. So one or the other, and sometimes both, can definitely go ahead and resolve that issue so that you can sleep right on through. A third option is using essential oils. People are using like frankincense, there's sage and whatnot that you can actually put and have it actually blow out and into the air, and it's actually helped a lot of people with that. What is that? When your belly alarm dies off, it's for a reason. Let's talk about your body anyway. Let's talk about the body for a minute. You're wired. Everybody's wired. We don't always follow our guidance, but you're wired to know when you're around something really, really bad. When you were young, just about all of us when we were young, we used to watch the scariest movies that would come out at the time. You cut out all the lights, you watch the show, you get yourself all scared and worked up, and then we had phones that had real ringers, not these, but the hardline phones would ring really loud. Anybody that was in the house would jump off the couch, freak out. You know, we do that to ourselves, but there was nothing physically in our body that was saying, I don't feel good, get out of here. Oil diffusers, thank you. That's what I was thinking of, was the diffusers with the essential oils. Big, big, big deal. That really does work very, very well. Sorry to skip. But there's nothing in your making you feel like that. When you get to a very evil, negative location, your body's going to tell you, no, I don't want to be here. And not just being scared because it's dark. I mean, turn the lights on, but you still feel that presence. That's something a little bit different. And then you still have to, from our standpoint, we still have to make sure it's not an EMF field causing it. Because there are physical attributes around your environment that can cause that feeling of being watched, getting sick, feeling like there's a heavy presence. And that's usually electrical bleed. It's when something isn't really grounded very well in your house or location. It can even make you feel like you've been touched a lot. Horrible dreams.
Well, it's like power lines.
You and power lines.
Yep.
When you see where it's misty outside, if he tries to stand under the power lines, he'll start looking like he's drunk. He can't keep his balance. He starts swaying. He's hypersensitive to electromagnetic fields. So, pretty cool.
It's not cool for me.
I think it's cool when you get to watch
you.
it. Yeah. I think it's funny. I've had people I've had to physically walk away from. Exactly. There are negative will breed negativity. If you stay around negative people and whatnot, it will breed it. Don't cut the negativity out of your life as much as you can. We won't engage and get wrapped up into people that want to be crazy negative or anything. There's no reason for it. Just get it away from yourself. Carbon monoxide, another black mold.
Yeah.
The carbon monoxide is a very big deal, and it doesn't even have to be at a level that's high enough that's going to hospitalize you or do worse. Hang on to Cheryl's for just a second.
Yeah,
it is great to have detectors in your house for stuff like that, and teams don't usually care when they go into a house. It's good to know. You got radon, you got carbon monoxide, things, gases that can actually go ahead and build up that can certainly cause things. Even hallucinations. I mean, nausea, it can definitely cause a number of items. Cheryl, yeah, everybody on here, in all sincerity, if you've ever investigated, how many of you guys have come across spider webs? You've got people that walk right in front of you, and all of a sudden you come across spider webs, but you can't feel them. I mean, you can feel them come across your face, but they're not there. And that's what she's talking about, the invisible spider webs. That really is a type of activity that does occur. It happens all the time, and it's not just because something decided to go ahead and drop in between you and the person in front of you.
Well, it's like I have mastered the martial arts walking into a spider web. I don't. Yeah.
You have definitely mastered
I have
the
hurt
arts.
muscles I didn't know I had.
Hurt muscles. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We're just catching up. We're trying to go ahead and run through real
That's
quick.
what she was getting at. Full spider. Oh, master martial arts.
Yes, yes. Very good at that.
Thanks, Cheryl.
We're going to wrap up in about 6 minutes. We're just about done going ahead and talking here. We appreciate everybody as far as joining us and jumping on with us today. This has been, it's always a blast. I haven't been able to do nighttime. I hate not being able to do nighttime, so we're going to have to find a daytime that works for as many people as we can find and start doing it. We'll probably do the daytime on Paranormal Warehouse on a consistent basis. We just need to try to find a particular day that works.
But please watch the other crew.
7 o'clock tonight, they'll be on.
Yep.
They will be talking again more about KOA. And again, KOA, thank you so much for so many of you guys for the warnings that you gave. And even with the warnings that you give, understand just because we don't take you up on your warnings all the time is nothing horrible. It's not that we're taking for granted what you're saying or we don't believe what you're saying. Our team, unfortunately, we just can't run. We just can't just leave a location because they want us out of there. Laura's on here right now. She's one of the ones that had to deal with the negativity at the last location. She's perfectly fine. Done with the martial arts ninja. You. She's perfectly fine. She knows the inherent risk, and I'm ultimately responsible for making sure my team and any of our guests are going to be safe overall. We do know things are going to happen, and there's going to be times when I'll be behind the scenes and have to go ahead and take them out. But just because we don't leave as soon as everybody starts saying, oh my God, get them out of there, get them out of there, we can't turn our back to the negativity. That's what we do. We go at the negativity. Some of us more so are more adapt to it than others. People like I said, Janie, she can see it, feel it, sense it. It's harder on her.
But we have a plan.
We do have a plan.
Yep. Something happens, you take care of the situation, but you still do what you need to do. So, Geneva, thank you.
So I want you guys, yeah, thank you very much, Geneva. I just want you guys to realize we still absolutely encourage anybody's input when we are at locations as far as letting us know when things are going to ramp up. Because when we go back and look at it, when they start saying, oh, somebody's about to get pushed, somebody's about to have something happen to them, it usually happens pretty well on the mark. So again, it's confirmations for those that are letting us know this. And on some of these feeds, we're going to also get trolls. We're going to get people that are going to be negative. Just disregard them. If they don't have a life, that's on them.
Yep, it's all good.
When we're on Paranormal Warehouse, we cannot block them. When we're on our own page, we can block anybody we want, and we will block anybody that does that. So thank goodness today we've been free of any trolls. It's been great. We've had some awesome people on here.
Yes.
Justin, would you go ahead and throw on a couple of your links that you have? Justin has multiple shows that he does. Fantastic to go ahead and jump on. Again, especially if you're newer to the field, or even if you've got experience and you want to learn more. If Justin throws up a couple of his links, you want to go ahead and try to follow him and check out some of what he has going on. He gets into a wide range of conversations, and a lot of his is quite a bit of conversation. He wants to know what your feelings are about certain things, and he's going to go ahead and put out what he'll even look things up right there. I mean, he's got multiple people working with him. It's awesome. So if you get a chance, go ahead and throw that up there, Justin. Lorraine, definitely great meeting you as well, Lorraine. We appreciate that. For the UK, love the UK. You guys are awesome over there. Have always treated us really, really well. We've got people from Canada, Mexico, a little bit all over the place right now. Laura will be on tonight on Paratalk at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Again, that'll be on our Facebook page, so just go up. Sandy, can you throw our link in for us?
Please, Sandy. I'm still slacking still.
Sandy, you're too kind. We appreciate that very, very much. Trust me. We definitely appreciate that. Cannot stand anything with 8 legs. I hate spiders. We'll deal with ghosts all day long. We'll deal with demons. I'm not playing with spiders. I hate spiders. That's just some information over to Justin. There you go. Justin's got his going up now. Check out these links. I'm telling you, it's some really good reading. It's really good information as far as you go through when you have good people like that that's putting it out there. And again, very straight up. I like people that go with have a scientific mind. He's taught us quite a bit as far as how to even take steps and debunk certain things. We're always willing to learn. We're always willing to look at other possibilities. You always have to be willing to learn in this field.
Dawn, nice to meet you too. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to try to catch up real quick before we get off here. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that, even though they have a scientific, they do believe. And that's why the science field is so split in half between both, between believing and non-believing.
Thanks,
Scott,
Sandy.
just jumping on. Oh, sorry, buddy. We're going to be getting off here in just a minute and a half. I apologize. Scott, but thank you for jumping on. Deborah, obviously, definitely appreciate you being on with us. Always. Cheryl, yeah, you can have all the spiders you want. I hate the darn things. That's the quickest way to get us out of a location. Just load it up with some spiders.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Caught up everything. So.
Good job. Again, if you would share with your friends, we appreciate it. Appreciate all the likes on our page. We appreciate, and we've had several people who've turned around and given, praised whatever we've done, given us some feedback. We appreciate that very much. If you need some help, even if you're not in our location, again, we're in Maryland. We do about a 4-hour drive. If you need help and it's not even near us, that's perfectly fine. We network with a lot of teams, so we'll be glad to go ahead and try to help you out. A lot of things can be done as long as the client's willing to go ahead and take steps.
Well, like you said, if y'all have anything you want to private message us, like you said, the top of the screen, the link, Elite Parasoc, just shoot us a message. So.
Again, thanks for everybody. Thanks for your time. We appreciate it. We're going to get off here tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We will have our evening regular EPS Paratalk on. Some of our team members will be doing. Laura, which is one of our lead investigators, will be on. Thank you from myself, Robert, and Freddie.
Thank
We
you guys
appreciate
so
it.
much. Take care.
We're out of here. Thank you. Go ahead and hit.